Have you spotted those super trendy little projects with the cute applique designs all over social media? They are perfect for a fun weekend DIY, and I bet you are dying to make one. But if you are feeling a bit lost on where to start, don't worry, I've got your back. In today's tutorial, I'll walk you through creating these adorable applique designs step by step. From picking your pieces to sewing them down. You'll get all my secret tips for those crisp, clean edges that make your projects look totally professional. Before we get started, here's what you need. I listed all my favorite tools in the description box below, so if you miss anything, you can grab it there. First, you need your templates or your pattern. So I use mine, Paddle Pop from St. Shake, over here. Then you need some fabrics. You can go with scraps, or you could go with a layer cake, because the layer cake provides you with a lot of different fabrics on a budget. I will use my Balisong collection, and with all these bright colors, it's perfect for our project. Next, we need a background fabric. It should be calm, so I have a white fabric here. And then we need a fusible web. Could be heat and bond or something similar. And we need, of course, a cat, possibly, if that's optional. Then we need a rotary cutter, a friction pen, a pencil, and we need invisible thread. Well, that's optional too, but I prefer the invisible one, and an open foot for your sewing machine so you can really see your stitches. Then what is really helpful, but it's kind of an invest, is a lighting table. So if you don't have one, don't worry, you can always go to your window and trace with the daylight. So now when we are well prepared, let's start. And the first thing is, what we want to do, we want to trace our shapes onto our fusible web. So let me explain how we do that. When you download my pattern, it might be a little bit larger than the usual US letter size sheets, and you have to tape them together. In this case, I scaled it a little bit down for demo purpose only. So this is what you will get. You have your motif in the final version, and you can see some of the lines overlap. And this is intentional, so your leaves overlap the stem and so on. But could be a little bit confusing. So I extracted all the shapes in a separate sheet, and I numbered them. So you know, we will start with number 1. What is number 1? This part here, you will see later. This is a little background piece and will be overlapped by the leaves. So it's crucial to have that first. That's why I've placed the numbers. And then you go forward. And later, this is our helper, how to place the fabric onto the background. But for now, we can get rid of that one. We just need this thing. In the next step, you want to trace the single shapes for the flower. So as I mentioned, your fusible web has a rough side with the glue sticks on and a smooth one. And we draw onto the smooth one. But that means that you have to tape your template mirrored onto your lighting table to get it right. So I did it for you. And I now bring on my fusible web. So when you start, it doesn't matter with which number you begin. Just go ahead. And then always make a little note of the number. I think it's kind of meditative, isn't it? Once we have everything traced on our fusible web, it's time to cut out the single shapes. You cut them slightly larger, leave a little bit of a margin around it. Once you have cut out all your shapes, it's time to press on your favorite fabrics. You can go either with my suggestion on the pattern, or you go wild and do your own thing. So I start with my background piece, number 1, and my leaf. It needs just a little bit of a press without any steam. Once all your pieces are pressed onto fabric, we can now go forward and cut them out exactly. Once our shapes are well prepped, we can start pressing them onto our background fabric. So just to remind you, this is our layout diagram with all the numbers on. As you can see, these background piece and the leaf, they overlap, but that's intentional. So we start with number 1, which would be this little guy here. Now we need our background fabric. So I bring it on, and when I place it, I just eyeball so that everything is centered. And to keep it in place, I use my little pins here, so I don't have to worry about messing up. And I can see pretty well all the lines shine through. That's good enough to press on. Now I go with the sequel of the numbers shown on the back side of my shape. I start with number 1. So now I have this paper on the back, and it's quite annoying to get rid of it, but there's a little trick. You just take a pin and give it a scratch like that. And now you can easily break it and rip it off. Piece of cake. Okay, I place this shape now where it's supposed to be, means here. And just give it a good press. Next, number 2 is my stem. Okay, get rid of the paper. Place it where it's supposed to be, about there. And it covers now the edge of my background piece. Number 3 is my little kind of blossom, the dot here. See, how easy is that? It's just fun. And the edges of the fabric, They don't fray, they keep crisp and clean because we have this adhesive underneath. Well, that was fun. Now off to the sewing machine to bring them onto the background. Before we can go stitching, we have to prepare our sewing machine with the perfect stitch. So in my case, I have a buttonhole stitch. This is straight and inwards, and I love that one. But not every machine provides such a stitch. So if you have maybe not that option, you could go with a simple zigzag stitch here. Also, I have threaded my machine with invisible thread for the top, and in the bobbin I have just cotton. So now I get started with my buttonhole stitch. I have that open foot where I can control where my stitch goes and go now slowly forward, step by step. When I come to a corner, I slow down and let the needle be stuck in that corner, like that. And then I can turn around, Now I come to the point where my first leaf is, and I just go around that shape. When I'm on the tip of the leaf, I now move downwards in the middle and then upwards again. Until the tip and then around that curved line. Now here's a part where two leaves overlap, and I've already stitched around the first leaf, and I don't need the stitches on the underneath leaf. So I lift my needle, I pull the thread a little bit, I go down to the next point and go forward. And later I clip that piece of thread. So here's a little part when I jump from one point to the other and pull the thread, so I just clip it off. And that's it. Piece of cake, wasn't it? I hope this tutorial gave you the confidence to try raw edge applique. Let me know in the comments which motif you love most, the flower, leaf or pear. If you found this helpful, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more quilting tips, and check out my favorite tools in the description below. Happy quilting, and I'll see you in part 2.